welcome everyone to another episode of Life in the City podcast with me, Aida, Ahmad, and my co-host, Farid Wahab.
As usual, thanks Aida for the introduction. So, what interesting topic do we have today?
Today we will be talking about food and who gets to cook it, particularly Malaysian food. In this case, our favorite hawker dishes. And I'm sure everyone knows the news that's been going on lately about Penang making a move or ban on foreign workers cooking our beloved Malaysian dishes. Maybe you would like to tell our listeners, Farid, the 13 dishes that is included in this ban.
Yes. Actually, just to give an overview of what we're talking about today, at present, there is a ban by the Penang government for foreign workers to cook 13 dishes at all hawker centres, food courts. They are under the council's jurisdiction, such as these dishes include nasi lemak, asam laksa, wonton mee, char kway teow soup, mee sotong, kari mee, chi cheong fan, Hokkien mee, char kway kap, pasembo, ochien, and lobak. Yeah.
But before we get into the nitty-gritty of it, our guest today is the Malaysian Hawkers and Petty Traders Association Executive Advisor, Datuk Lee Teong Chwee. Welcome, Datuk, to our podcast.
Yeah. Hi, good morning, everyone.
Thank you for being our guest today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So this should be an interesting topic. How about Farid? Yeah, Farid, just enlighten everyone.
Actually, just to get our listeners up to speed, the Penang Island City Council has been enforcing this move since 2016. And effective January 1st next year, the City Council has said that it plans on widening the ban to include all hawker stalls, food courts and coffee shops on the island. And we also recently came across news reports. It was reported that the Selangor government is also mulling to implement a similar move next year.
Yeah.
In fact, on July 11, Bernama reported the Selangor Local Government and Tourism Committee Chairman, Datuk Lee Teong Chwee, as saying that the state would consult Penang on the implementation of this policy. Datuk Eng was quoted as saying that this could be difficult to enforce due to Selangor's high population, but he did say it might still be implemented if suitable. So this is why we have brought Datuk here today to help us dissect the pros and cons of this issue. Can you get us started, Aida?
Yes. Datuk, first of all, what is your take on Selangor mulling over this idea, emulating what Penang is doing?
Actually, in Selangor, we can see that the very main famous dishes is bak kut teh.
Right.
And not so many like these traditional dishes like the 13 that Farid just mentioned.
In Penang, yeah.
So it's not so much of complicating in Selangor state.
Yeah.
And then I don't think there's a big issue on this bak kut teh issue, because normally the bak kut teh, the main cook and is done by the boss.
Yeah.
So the ingredients so on all are prepared by the boss and the owner itself. So it's only bak kut teh, no other thing. See.
So, personally, are you saying that you don't have an issue with foreign workers cooking bak kut teh if they have to cook bak kut teh?
They don't cook. They only do something like helping as a helper only. They don't really cook there. There's no cooking, only preparation. Everything is done. So the taste and so on, it wouldn't be very much different from what you are doing, the frying, kway teow, this and that. They handle nothing, only like chopping and sharing soups on. That's all.
Yeah.
So in Selangor, I don't think it's a big issue on the foreign workers involved in the bak kut teh line lah.
Right.
Yeah.
But Datuk, this ban could have several implications, right? Many hawker stalls rely on foreign workers to fill in positions which are challenging for local staff due to the nature of the work, like we've talked about earlier, right? It's many of the younger ones, they want easy fast money, but they don't want to toil, because this sort of job, it's a lot of toiling, it's a lot of hard work.
It's a long hour. Yeah.
Correct, long hours, right? So, would you say that the sudden ban on foreign workers could disrupt the operations of these stalls and then affect their ability to serve the customers and maintain their businesses?
This is obviously, if they ban on these foreign workers, it will definitely affect the industry.
Yeah.
Because we rely more mainly on these workers to help in the front line also, not only as a kitchen helper. See, and then nowadays you find like the very traditional operators, you find less and less. Only the youngsters who take over the father or the grandfather's position.
Correct.
Now.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, and a lot of the hawker stall owners, right?
Yeah.
Those the parents or grandparents don't have their offspring or grandchildren to continue the business, so they're at a dilemma. How am I going to continue this business if my children and grandchildren don't want to carry the torch, right?
But
so they have to rely on
foreign workers.
Foreign workers, yeah.
Even then, if the grandchildren carry on this business, they have their own thinking and all the new patterns of doing that.
Yeah.
Many ways of, like some Chinese food already they mix with Western food to go something new, they want something new. And all the drinks also, you can see all the fancy drinks and this and that, you see. So this is just maybe in this in the years to come, it's going to be the choice is like that.
So you're saying it could be a growing trend where people reinvent the recipes to try to attract more
simple
customers.
example is coffee. Now you can see the coffee, so many tastes, so many kinds of tastes.
Right.
Coffee pink, this and that. All the mix now also got the Milo and the Nescafe mix and this and that. All changed. Everything is changed now.
Datuk, there have been concerns that if this policy comes into practice or is enforced next year, it might increase the cost for F&B operators. Do you think that's the case? Do you think that will be the case?
I don't think so, because the price will derive from demand and supply. If your food is good, tasty, and the price is reasonable, the public are willing to queue a long time and to wait and to pay you a little bit extra. They are willing to pay. And not the price matter that you get less customer. No. People drive all the way 1 hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes looking for parking just to go in your restaurant because they want your good food.
So you're saying it's more about the quality of the food, not really who makes the food.
No, don't know who makes it.
But Dato', if they ban the foreign workers, right, then we would have to rely on local staff. And local staff would want a higher wage, right? So then there's the issue of recruitment and training costs that could also arise as the business owners invest in this to bring new employees up to speed. Would you agree to that?
I don't agree. Anybody can just step in and learn and carry on the work.
I see. What about, given these factors, if the ban takes place, many F&B operators might need to raise prices to cover the increased expenses in terms of probably paying more to local workers? I
don't think so. That's what I mentioned earlier. If the food is no good, you sell cheaper also, nobody will come in.
Okay.
Not the price matter. That matters, I think.
Okay, that's an interesting thing because coming in, I thought that you would probably say, they would probably increase the price because they have to pay more.
No.
Okay, so you're saying that if your food is good, then you're gonna get your
public will pay a little bit, willing to pay a little bit higher, more. That is fair.
Okay. Anyway, but if you can shift the conversation a little bit, maybe Datuk can tell us a little bit. How have the public or how have the stakeholders responded to this news?
Actually, you see, we can see obviously since 2016, the Penang local council, they have already practiced this. They're trying to ban and so on until today. We find that the food industry in the food industry in Penang still going well, going on the same as 2016. We don't find any side effect on this and that.
So there has been no hiccup at all?
No, there's no difference.
Okay. Because I actually, in the course of doing this research for this topic, I came across a number of online chat groups like Loyat, Reddit. So of course some of them were making fun of it. They said, oh, okay, so this ban is only going to apply to those from the low-income countries and not the Mat Saleh. So you know, I came across that kind of snarky comments. So I was just wondering, how have the stakeholders in the industry been responding to it?
But in your opinion, Dato', it's business as usual.
It will be usual.
Perhaps there would be a minor hiccups in the beginning when people are adjusting. I think.
The other issue in this ban, Dato', is this will only affect the small players in the hawker stalls, right? Gerai makanan, not so much the restaurants. Do you think this is fair?
This is not fair.
Right.
Because when you ban, that means you ban on all illegal foreign workers.
Right.
So
it leaves room for large businesses to be unaffected, right? While it will affect the small players.
probably quite true. It's quite true.
Yeah. And most of the restaurants often rely heavily on foreign workers due to the higher budgets and fewer resources. Am I correct?
Beg your pardon?
Most of the restaurants, not hawkers, they rely heavily on foreign workers due to the tighter budgets and fewer resources.
Yes, I think they employ, but normally we don't see how many of them are in the front line because they are inside the kitchen.
Yeah.
And not like the roadside store that you can see who are there.
Yeah.
Datuk, let's talk a little bit about the cultural significance of these 13 dishes that I mentioned earlier. I think I mentioned a handful of Chinese dishes here, which I myself probably have not eaten. Maybe you can tell us that why are these dishes so culturally significant to the Chinese community?
Actually, these 13 dishes, we can really find them in Penang, and then also in the whole of the peninsula, also East Malaysia. And they all have their own style of cooking, and the northern people and the southern citizen also, they have their different taste. So these 13 dishes mostly are more Hokkien taste. More Hokkien taste. And then another factor that people like because they are very cheap. Cheap and nice.
In Penang, it's still cheaper, yes.
Cheaper
correct.
and nice.
Oh, really? In Penang, they're cheaper?
Yes, it
I
is
did not know that.
cheaper than Klang Valley,
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
So public is like that. When they see a crowd in the hawker center, they will go in.
That's right.
When you see nobody, you don't want to walk in. You see a crowd, there will be more crowd. When you queue, you will queue the store that more people queuing and not the empty one. That is a natural response of the public.
Correct. So Dato', what do you think about the being instrumental of having a native cook or chef to preserve the authenticity of a dish? What do you think about that? Having, in terms of the 13 dishes, right? You have, for example, wonton mee or char kway teow. The move to ensure it is a Malaysian who's cooking it, what do you think about that? Do you think it will severely alter the flavor and taste if it's a foreign cook who does it?
No, actually the main ingredients they brought into the stall are done by the operator, by the boss, not the foreign workers. So the quality and the grade of the ingredient that brought in, that is by the boss, and then it depends on what grade you are using. Like soya sauce, there are so many grades, A, B, C, D, E. So you will get the cheapest sauce. It's not going to be a very good result in cooking. Like me and the other ingredient also, all is done by the operator.
Yeah.
So the foreign worker, they got nothing much about this handling all these food ingredients.
Right.
That's why the taste and so on is decided by the boss.
So you're saying that essentially the taste is going to be affected by what ingredients you use, which
The
are
ingredient.
chosen by the operators,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the foreign chef simply puts them together in the
Yeah,
pot.
yeah,
I think.
that's why.
Yeah.
I think one of the great concerns that was raised in support of this proposal was that they wanted to, or at least the authorities thought that it would preserve the authenticity of the dish. But my concern is that we are gatekeeping the definition of authenticity.
Right.
Because one of the 13 dishes is actually nasi lemak,
Yeah.
which is a very famous Malay dish. But I think my aunt and my mom, two Malays, even they themselves, don't make nasi lemak the same way.
Correct.
Yeah.
So no two Malays make nasi lemak the same way. So if you're going to say we want to preserve authenticity, then the concern becomes, how do you define authentic?
Correct. Like what we mentioned earlier, Datuk, not only Malays cook nasi lemak, Chinese cook nasi lemak,
Yeah.
Indians as well cook nasi lemak. Yeah.
And there's also the thing that Datuk mentioned earlier is that when it comes to recipe, dishes, menu, they do evolve over time.
Yeah.
So if we gatekeep authenticity, then we're gonna prevent ourselves from evolving our taste buds.
Correct. And if we try to understand the cultural context of this, Datuk, let's say we have a Malaysian native cook, right, cooking all these dishes. Now they will have a deep understanding of the cultural and historical context behind the dish, right?
Right.
Could be an heirloom recipe from their ancestors, and it's being carried down, right? And they may have grown up eating and cooking these dishes for a long time, and they learn the traditional techniques from family or community, right, to maintain the flavors. So there's familiarity, right? Now, if it's a non-native cook cooking these dishes, and if they immerse themselves in studying the traditional recipes and respect the origins of a dish, they can also achieve same standard of flavors, don't you think?
I don't think so, because normally the main cause of this recipe is ingredient,
Right.
and experience, and then from where you learn, you must try to do it yourself, and to find out the taste of the customer, because each individual, like in the northern part and the southern part, and they are all different tastes. You have to study the taste of the customer, what they like, what they want, and then it's not easy to cook a good dish.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not easy.
Sorry to chime in. So you have really stressed on the importance of the ingredients as being the main, as being the main reason behind the taste. But what about the methods of preparation? Because there have been concerns that the way that foreigners tend to prepare food differently. I don't know what they mean by that, but they did say foreigners might prepare food differently, and it might affect the taste. Like even in the Malay culture, we have this term called air tangan, which is which is taken to mean the taste of the food can be different depending on who prepares it. Where do you stand on this matter?
Actually, it's equally important. Not only the ingredients and the timing, cooking, and the process also takes an important. Timing is very important. Like you do a fried kway teow, it can be overcooked or it can be less cooked.
Correct.
You fry in a fast, and the different quality also different.
Variation in cooking techniques.
Technique, yes. That is also important. That's why you see when we say like our old grandmother, old grandfather, the way they cooking is different. They prefer like charcoal cooking. They prefer like the wood fire, so on. You see.
Yeah.
And now we come to oven already. We come to this gas cooking. All different. It's all different.
I think that brings back to our earlier point about how cooking evolves over time. But that is not dependent on a person's nationality, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's all experience, and then they must try themselves, and they see the restaurant. The comments of the customer is very important.
Because at the end of the day, your customers
The
are your
comment.
customers. They are the one who is eating the food.
Yeah, the comment is
Yeah.
We actually would like to shift this discussion over to the broader social concern of this policy. Datuk, do you think it can be considered cultural appropriation to have someone outside of that cultural group to cook the dish belonging to that group?
I don't think so. Cooking. This line is open to everybody, all races, all races. Not to say from which country, from the Africa or here and there. No, it's the same. Everybody can cook. It's the matter of the one who tastes it, the one who eat it, they accept or not.
Yeah.
Cooking is everybody. Every can do the cooking. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I shared earlier before we started the podcast, Dato, I shared with you about the story of the Sri Lankan baker in France who was bestowed an award for baking the best baguette in the country. Sri Lankan baker, right? And he won that award, and his baguettes are being consumed by the president, right? So it's a significant accolade, and it boils down to what we're discussing. It shouldn't be banning a person, a cook, a talented cook of a different background, different race, from cooking a dish from his non-native country, right? Yeah.
I think I came across this. I came across this debate online. People were talking about cultural appropriation, but someone raised this point, a netizen raised this point, and they said, "Is it cultural appropriation or cultural appreciation?" Because they said that wouldn't you be proud to see, say some random Mak Saleh cooking your food?
The nasi lemak.
Yeah. So imagine seeing this on your national TV, would like maybe the Great British Bake Off or whatever, someone cooks nasi lemak, and then wouldn't that make you proud to know that, oh, someone actually bothers to learn about my culture? That's
as long as there is respect in preserving the ingredients that goes into making this dish, I don't see it as a problem.
Basically,
what about you, Dato?
give us credit.
Yeah.
How about you, Dato?
Yeah, we should appreciate, and then we should be happy to see like Japanese cooking nasi lemak, and then the Malaysian in Japan Ginza there also you can see the Asian food store, hawker store, all like Malaysians are doing. Still acceptable by this the local Japanese. So even a Japanese cook or a Chinese cook or a Malay cook, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So when Selangor said that it will mull over the proposed ban, right, of foreign cooks at hawker stalls, it hasn't. The state hasn't said if it will affect only those at venues managed by local authorities or every single stall in the state. What is our take on this, Farid?
Yeah, I think when I first read the news, I was I wanted more details, because we know that this has been enforced in Penang for quite some time, but only at food courts, at venues operated by the Penang Island City Council. So when Selangor announced that it is mulling doing the same thing, my mind was thinking, okay, are you going to do it only at venues that are operated by local councils, or are you going to enforce this statewide? So that was my concern. I wanted to get more details. How about you, Dato?
Yeah, that's what what you say is correct. Because when you come to Selangor, it's the whole state. And there are so many kampung style cooking, kampung style like further from the clan state, the clan Badaraya. So I think what you mentioned is correct. Because when you come to the state, there are so many kampung operators, so many kampung.
I would like to play a bit of a devil's advocate, if that's okay.
Sure.
Let's switch the role a little bit. You can chime in, Datuk can chime in. Should Malaysian chefs be allowed to cook foods from other cultures? I mean, if we're not allowing foreigners to cook our food, should we then allow Malaysians to cook foods from other culture or work in establishments where they are required to cook foods from other cultures? What do you think, Datuk?
That's what we say. This cooking line is that everybody can cook. I can cook your style. You can cook my style.
We might cook it better.
The other nation, they also appreciate eating our Malaysian food. We also like to eat their food also. So it's a matter of whether you like or don't like. That's all. If you like, you eat more. You don't like, you eat less. That's all. There's no something like you cannot cook. I cannot cook. No, I don't think so.
Correct. I mean,
It's a universal style of this interaction. You see?
I agree. There shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a case where if I wanted to cook and I cook Datuk, if I wanted to cook sanghami, then should I be nervous and scared that Chinese community might feel strongly about a non-Chinese cooking sanghami? Whereas if you Datuk, let's say you want to cook chicken varuval, you might make a fantastic varuval, right? So I think we're on the same page in this sense, correct?
Yeah. You know, I want to chime in a little bit about with a personal story. In 2014, I went to Rome, Italy. I think I was around the Trevi's fountain area, and I was very excited about trying the pasta. I was like, wow, this is Italy. This is where pasta was born, or at least so I thought. And then I went into this restaurant. I paid 10 euros for a pasta, and it was, no offense if any Italian is watching this, but I was a bit underwhelmed by what I had, and I kept thinking, after I came back from that place, I video called my mom. I said, look, Mom, I think your pasta is better than this pasta. I don't know, maybe because it's my Malay tongue.
You're right, Farid.
Yeah.
This is all because of what sort of cheese they're using. Maybe this is very heavy taste, very
not suited to our palate.
Just
not
like
used to.
similarly like our Pizza Hut also, when they first came in Malaysia, we cannot tahan also. About 20-30 years back. But now today they are already Malaysian style.
Correct.
They're going to suit our
local
taste,
palate,
the local taste, you see. So it's totally different. Maybe you go back to America or somewhere else to go in Pizza Hut, it's all different.
Yeah, that's right.
Even like McDonald's the same. You go
different countries, different.
All different. Yeah.
I also feel like food can be a uniting factor or whatever lah.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
When I was studying, my housemate was a Chinese, and he recommended to me, because we took turns to cook, and he said, let's try to cook rendang. And this is coming from a Chinese guy asking a Malay guy to cook rendang. So we cook it together. So needless to say, we failed spectacularly. It didn't become rendang, it became something else. But the point is, we tried together. It didn't matter that rendang is traditionally a Malay food, that, you know, but I tried it with my Chinese friend, and then we tried it again, and then it worked.
So you see, what I feel is that cooking is just like singing a song. You see, this is universal. Everybody can sing a song everywhere. Anybody's song you can sing. Cooking also the same. You can cook anything you like. You can eat anything you like. Wherever you go, you try the local dishes. You see, that's where you enjoy from traveling. You see.
Yeah, and I think another important thing that we need to consider, or the state or Malaysia needs to consider, is that if this ban on foreign cooks is perceived as a way to exclude foreigners, right, especially those from low-income countries or specific racial ethnic groups, it will be seen as discriminatory, which is not a good thing, right? It might be, the ban might be disproportionately affect certain groups of people, right? And then we'll be accused of xenophobia.
Yeah, I totally agree what you say. So it's not fair. It's not fair. After all, the more important is that we can make like local hawker store, any operator also handling, they must go for typhoid injection. They must go for food handling course, so on. So why not we put a compulsory that this foreign worker also must follow what they must go for the same thing, typhoid and this food handling courses, so on. You see,
Better regulations is what
make
you're
them
saying.
compulsory must attend these courses. So at least to upgrade their standard of hygiene and so on. You see.
Currently, is this being practiced, the requirements for typhoid?
Only for the locals.
Only for the locals. How about the foreign
The
workers?
foreign workers, they come in with for MIMA examination, that's all.
Okay.
It's a general health examination.
At present, food F&B operators are allowed. Are they allowed to hire foreign workers? I assume they are, right?
I don't, this issue also hard to comment, you see, because they are always playing a hide and seek game like that. So, yeah.
Datuk, it was reported that Selangor will consult the Penang government on this issue. Do you think that there is in Selangor that there is the same urgency as Penang to implement this move?
That's what I mentioned earlier. It's totally a different way of cooking this in the public food, the hawker store and so on. Penang is Penang style, Selangor style. So I don't think it's necessary to learn from Penang. You can study your own concept, have your own your campaign, so on.
Yeah.
But what I would urge that the Selangor government try to get the people related field to come to a seminar to discuss, to go further what they are going to do. It's good to consult these people, local people.
Correct.
Yeah, so related field lah.
Yeah.
The persatuan so on.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah, and also there was a report by the Star recently where the Malaysian Indian Restaurant Owners Association Primas Deputy President Mr. C. Krishnan said the Home Ministry in issuing permits to hire cooks in kedai makanan, which means restaurants, right? Now there is no provision for foreign workers to work in any capacity at hawker stalls. So there needs to be clarification by the state government to avoid any confusion. Would you agree, Datuk?
And this one also, I think it must be clarified lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we can, before we end the podcast, we can discuss measures taken in other countries to safeguard their authenticity in their local dishes.
Yeah, I took the liberty of doing some basic Google searches, just to find out around the world what have other countries been doing. Have they had similar measures? And I came across a number of interesting facts here. If I can read them out for our listeners.
Yeah.
So in Japan, apparently there has been emphasis on preserving traditional Japanese culinary arts, especially sushi. While there isn't an outright ban on foreign sushi chefs, but there are strict regulations for those working in traditional sushi restaurants. So many high-end establishments apparently prefer to hire chefs who have undergone rigorous training, often within Japan, to uphold the standards of Japanese cuisine.
Yes,
so there is no ban, but you have to have
high standards
very
for
high
Japanese
standards.
cuisine, yeah.
And then apparently in Thailand, the government has implemented this thing called the Global Thai Program, which includes certifying Thai restaurants around the world that meet specific standards. So it doesn't ban foreign workers, but it does promote the hiring of Thai chefs and the use of Thai ingredients to maintain the integrity of Thai cuisines.
Yeah.
And in South Korea, kimchi, apparently kimchi is a national dish there, and its production is heavily regulated to ensure authenticity. So the South Korean government has implemented measures to protect the traditional methods of kimchi making in light of competition of mass-produced versions from abroad. So they don't ban foreign workers, but they do place heavy significance on the importance of kimchi and efforts to preserve the traditional methods of preparing kimchi. So it looks like around the world, governments are taking measures to somehow, regulate the production or the cooking of certain cultural dishes. So it's not exactly new, but I feel like Malaysia is going a little bit. It's taking a stronger measure by saying by putting in an outright ban, I think.
Which is not necessarily the smartest decision.
Yeah, I guess it really depends on the details that the Selangor government will come up with. Yeah.
Datuk, maybe you can chime in on what do you think are some of the issues that it's okay that require the attention of the state government when it comes to hawkers and foreign workers, like licensing, cleanliness, etc.
I don't think it's a good move to ban 100%.
Right. Okay.
As what Farid just mentioned. So there are ways and means that we can solve to promote our these traditional dishes.
Yeah.
So there's no point to ban and then enforcement and then everybody not feeling comfortable. So you can see since 2016, from that time to today, 8 years ago, 8 years back, the same thing in Penang. You can see everything is going well. It's going well.
Yeah.
So I urge that the local authority of Penang, you will take a step back Take a step back. At least you come up with something better way to solve this problem.
Correct. And like we've established already, Selangor has a diverse population and economy, and probably the approach should be more emphasis on inclusivity and economic pragmatism, right?
Yeah. I think I'm no expert, I'm not an industry player like Dato', but having been a journalist with Star Metro that covers local issues, local governance issues, I'm not entirely sure how this would be enforced, given the piles of concerns we already have about hawker stalls, like licensing, roadside trading, cleanliness.
Yeah.
So even now, the local authorities are grappling or struggling to, rein in all these things. So now we're going to add another layer to that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be. But I would say that I do agree with that in saying that yes, we probably can't ban them, but better regulation, better health checks would ensure cleanliness. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't the Selangor government earlier this year or last year, I need to check again, require all food handlers to wear face masks? Even that is not being practiced widely, I think. So now you're going to add another thing into the picture, and I think that's going to be a lot of things.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Aida?
Well, and any parting
You see, something is interesting. Nowadays, you can see these foreign workers, those doing the handling in the front line, they wear masks because they don't want people to know where they are from.
Oh, really?
It's
Why
quite
not?
interesting. You wear a mask, so you cannot, you don't know who are there. Something interesting.
I think I was having dinner at a restaurant a few days ago, and this is about cleanliness, and one of the waiter was putting my food on the table, and he smelled, and that put me off temporarily. Luckily, only temporarily.
Yeah.
But I think hygiene and cleanliness are my
personal hygiene.
But
my
I think
issue
most
here.
important is it is the personal, the foreign worker is not all are no good. Only certain people they are on their disciplinary action. Even then, you see, I had an occasion in I makan this buffet in a 4-star hotel. So normally they're afraid of me in front of us. So just simply find one foreign worker they fry. When you need to put some soup to add on the frying, this man just simply from the washing water in front, the washing quality, from there he take and put in. You see, 4-star. You cannot say the 4-star is sometimes some of them also you got to be careful. The soup is behind there.
Yeah.
So it will take him a bit from there to take the soup, and then he simply just take the for cleaning purpose the water just to cook. So I'm in front of him. So what do you say? It doesn't mean that they're 4-star or something. They are always good, but it's not the problem of the management. It's the individual.
Yeah.
It's the individual.
This is where things like proper cost and all that
the individual
comes in handy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Thank you for being on our show, Datuk. Really appreciate your insights and your expertise on the matter.
Okay.
Please join us next time on our next episode of Life in the City podcast. Our episodes can be viewed on www.thestar.com.my/metro or YouTube.
Okay, now go and get your lunch or dinner or breakfast, depending on which time you're viewing this.
Thank you, Datuk.